Hello, welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Your Dragon podcast. I'm your host, HC, and with me, as always, is...
Rush 2112.
And usually we have Voyager with us, but sadly she couldn't join us today because she has her reasons, and not because we turned this into the Ogre cast from last week, but standing in for her is, again, Wolf.
Hello.
Okay, so... Today's episode is, if you haven't figured it out yet, it's about the one, the only, not only girl in the franchise, but the only girl that people actually seem to care about. Astrid. What's her last name again? Hofferston?
Yes.
Okay, so your general thoughts on Astrid. Wolf, you're the guest, and I believe you wanted to say it first, so go ahead. What are your thoughts on Astrid?
Oh. Me first. Who is Astrid Hofferson? Well, she's a warrior, most certainly, I would say. You know, above all, she's trained for it her entire life, more or less, I would say. So definitely a warrior. She's very, brave. Probably not as patient as Hiccup. Would definitely come up with a plan and kind of rush headlong into it, I would say. And very much likes to tackle her problems head on.
Yeah, she's improvising rather than planning.
Yes, yeah, definitely that. And a good leader too, if she wants to be, and very much above all else, her biggest thing is protecting Berk and its people, and keeping all of them safe.
Okay, so Rush, your views on Astrid. What do you think of her?
I would see her as an incredibly loyal friend. Like Wolf said, a warrior at heart. As I'll make all the references later to episodes, but the biggest reference to this is obviously in Team Astrid when Stoic basically confronts her, says we're warriors. That's how it is, and it makes sense. She trained to be like that, and she kind of still feels that mentality, either in her personality, how she goes about handling things, or even in her hut, which we can talk about later.
Yes, so, like you guys said, she's a warrior, and I think in one of the episodes, I believe it was Defenders of Berk, we actually see that she had a big appreciation for her uncle, I think it was, and that she got it from him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that was Flightmare.
Flightmare.
Flight of Passage.
Yes.
Or Fright of Passage, my bad.
Yes,
Yep.
So in that episode we can tell that her family was a warrior family, and she carries it on. And in the first movie, when the first line she says, it not turning back once she goes into the arena. So that first line gives you her pretty much what she is. She is a warrior, and that's like her moment of truth. I'm becoming this. I'm becoming my family. So, in terms of general thoughts, do you like the character?
Oh yes, absolutely. She's a great character, I think.
Through all her flaws, I mean, she's written to be the exact opposite of Hiccup in terms of thought, style, and just general personality. Whereas, as Wolf said, Hiccup was more thoughtful and would go through the process. Astrid's rather rash, and Hiccup was not athletic. Astrid was then the most obvious boy girl. So yeah, it's a great balance to Hiccup. Sorry.
I may have said it before, but no, you're fine. She is the Viking's Viking. When the village looks at her, they see their future generation and they're happy. When they look at Hiccup, they're kind of, very much with him.
Yeah, that kind of changes in the course of the franchise, but...
Oh yes, it absolutely changes.
But at the
but
beginning,
at first,
yeah, I get what you're talking about. Actually, but at the beginning, she also gave the impression that she's very egotistical, because... Actually, not egotistical, but her pride gets the better of her when Hiccup
she's definitely prideful.
When Hiccup becomes good, all of a sudden it annoys her, and you can kind of tell why. She was the top of the class, pretty much. Like you said, the village looks at her, and then Hiccup becomes good, and he gets the attention, and that annoys her. That
Yeah,
I can
it's
understand.
She is
also,
competitive too.
Yeah, it's also, I think, an aspect of she's been training her whole life, and then this guy who's been screwing up his whole life can get good all of a sudden. It's kind of unfair. Another aspect of it.
Yep.
And she does say that line in the movie, you know, no one, you know, like you gets that good. That
Especially
quickly.
you.
How?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so before we move on Astrid, because there's no reason to do a full episode of her, what do you think of Stonefly and Deadly Nadders in general?
Stormfly.
Yeah, you go first, Wolf. I need
Go
to
ahead.
think.
I would say, you know, looking at Astrid and Stormfly's relationship, it's very different from Toothless and Hiccup, which again kind of goes back and on the idea that Astrid is very much different from Hiccup. But it's also different from most of the writers, I would say, where her and Stormfly, they care about each other, but to me, it feels like their relationship is more, you know, we're partners, we're not friends, I don't necessarily love you, but I do care for you. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, being rambly here, but very much, you know, they're partners. If anything happened to Stormfly, Astrid could eventually move on. She may, you know, be sad about it for a bit, but she would definitely move on much quicker than, say, if anything happened to Toothless.
Yeah.
Hiccup would be devastated.
Actually,
may
I'll say
never
before
fly
she'll
again.
move on, I believe she will try to avenge her, but after that, she'll probably, she won't cry over it for more than a week.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
in the end, you know, if anything happened to Toothless, of, you know, hey, there's nothing to avenge him, he just, you know, died of natural causes or anything of that nature. You know, Hiccup again, he'd just be devastated. Astrid, she'd be sad a bit, then would move on, and if there was another dragon to find, she'd find it and, you know, partner up with it instead.
Yeah.
But for most of the other writers, even Snotlout as well, like, he would be devastated. Fishlegs would be devastated. The twins, I don't know if we know enough about that relationship to say. They might be a little bit devastated, but I think they
I
would
believe
move
they
on
will
a
be,
bit too.
but
They would be, but not for. They'd move on. Like, I think the quickest out of all of them. And you can go back. Obviously, this isn't
Yeah.
the twins episode, but back when Dagger was first introduced, you know, their dragon was caught, and they were at least somewhat concerned. So that shows that they do care for their dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you brought up, that point about how it's a different relationship, is from all the writers, because, you know, Toothless and Hiccup, like buddies, best friends, like they're almost the exact same entity. Meatlug and Fishlegs, a little overbearing love there, kind of creepy at sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about it last episode, I think, where we said Hiccup and Toothless are a unit.
Yeah.
Astrid and Stonefly are the definition of unit, because they're a unit because they work together, not necessarily because they have the greatest bond in the world or
Yeah,
something.
it's more of they understand each other, because I think that in terms of personality, the way Stormfly goes is kind of like Astrid with the military style, where so they have to work together as, you know, soldiers in arms. Otherwise, it's not going
Yeah.
to work out. But back
Okay,
to
just to kind of close this discussion, if it was Astrid who tried to take Stonefly back from the Alpha in movie 2, she wouldn't have made it. She wouldn't made it, like Hiccup did with this. That's how I see it.
I think that depends on how you look at the Alpha's control, and I probably look at it a bit differently. But yeah, I would agree. I don't think she would have been as successful as Hiccup.
I mean, if it
Yeah.
was a role reversal and Drago chose Stormfly to ride on and not Toothless, I mean it like that. If it was Astrid and Stonefly in that position, it wouldn't have turned out like it did with Hiccup and Toothless.
Let's see, one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
main
Yeah, I'd
reasons
agree.
that I don't think it would have worked is the whole idea of the strike class is the intelligence behind them as well. So I'm not saying that Stormfly's not smart, but she's not doesn't have the exact intelligence of Toothless, so she wouldn't. It's also, I think, that she's just incapable of forming the bond that Toothless and Hiccup have, for that matter, because they make it seem like, you know, the strike class dragons are the smartest of them all, and that they have more personality than others, because you don't really see too much personality from Stormfly, other than like she's very proud of herself, just like Astrid is, right?
Yes.
And she's very defensive. Like, you can see a lot of the episodes where Stormfly is quick to unsheath her tail because something's attacking her. Like when Fishlegs is with the is it the Sea Shocker, and the Sea Shocker jumps up and Stormfly shoots one of the spines really quickly. It's like, oh, she felt threatened. That's exactly what Astrid probably would have done. She would have attacked first and asked questions later.
Or never.
Or never, yeah.
And okay, actually, another thing in movie one, it happens twice during the dragon training parts, where Astrid is probably attacks Stormfly the most. There was one time when Gaber puts them in the maze, and she uses her axe got stuck on something, and then she waved it on Stormfly's head, and
it was a shield, yeah.
And then during the montage where Hiccup trains Toothless, there's this moment where she actually throws the axe at her, and I'm like, and these two become Dragon and Rider later, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing suspicious at all.
Definitely, yeah. But I think that goes back to our point where they're more of like the military style friendship, where they kind of have to work together. But then it also, we can kind of go on to as Astrid has her softer side brung out mostly by, I'm guessing, Hiccup, right? Nobody can really argue that anything else costs her softer side.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you can see that they emphasize more in Race to the Edge Astrid and her relationship with Stormfly. Say when they're taken over by the Grimoras, she's like, oh, you love the water. She does the sneaky spot, and she's like, there's my girl, kind of like she actually cares for her more. So it's a little bit, obviously, their relationship.
It still gives the impression that she knows Stormfly better than anyone else.
Yeah. What I'm saying is
because
we start off with their military-like relationship, and then as Astrid improves her attitude, her general attitude, then she also starts to care more about other things and people.
Okay, so if
I may step in
sure.
they're the buddy cops. They're the buddy cops.
Right.
It's like, if you see a buddy cop film, like, you care about your partner, you may not love them, you may not other things, but you care about them enough to where you want to be there for them, you want to help them out, and they do the same for you.
Exactly.
They would be the buddy cop duo.
Yeah.
Astrid and Stormfly, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde confirmed.
Yeah, and in the exact same way, at the beginning, they're strictly business, right? They're strictly like business, and then they start to care for each other, right?
Yeah, and actually, one thing I just thought about, at the end of movie one, when the other kids get the dragons, Hiccup is riding Stormfly with Astrid, and then he leaves her to be. So you can probably make the argument that they literally teamed up on the spot because they needed to. Like when they prepare to go fight the Red Death, you see Hiccup bringing out Hookfang outside of the outside of his cell, and then Snout actually bonds with him. But when they arrive at the nest, both Hiccup and Astrid are riding Stormfly, and then Hiccup leaves. So Astrid and Stormfly literally teamed up on the spot. It wasn't intended necessarily for them to be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Hiccup definitely played a part in all of that too. Without him there, they probably wouldn't have been able to, I would say.
Yeah, and there is no telling what dragon they would have chosen had Hiccup not been there. But it also goes back to the, obviously their dragons reflect their personality, right? All of theirs do.
Yeah.
But that's a completely different discussion, just of all the dragon riders together.
Yes. Okay, so next up, what is your favorite Astrid moment? But before that, do you have a runner-up? Because personally, I don't. Astrid has a lot of good moments, but I can choose a second one. So, you guys have anything?
I think one of my runner-ups would have to probably be, and I'm excluding all like Hickstrid moments possible because that's just a whole different category altogether.
Yeah.
I'd say one of my favorite moments that's a runner-up is just in the beginning of Race to the Edge. I think it's when they first get on the island, and when Astrid asks, "Why do you guys need a bore pit?" And then Toughnut says, "Everybody needs a little entertainment now and then, don't they?" And just the Astrid's face after that. That was hilarious. There's so many ways she could have responded, but just the blanks, like, what the hell?
Yeah, sometimes, even if you live with these people throughout all of your life, you just can't predict what they're going to say next.
Yeah, well, that also, going back to that, that's also Astrid in the Lycan Wing. Astrid tells Tough, it's like, you're not hideous, scary at sometimes, yes, but you're not hideous.
Okay, Wolf, do you have a runner-up?
Oh, it would have to be, for me, I would say, again, I think most of my moments would come from Race to the Edge. That's probably where they did her best at within the show, but it'd have to be just the entire episode of her and Toughnut having to defend the Edge by themselves.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Like, you get to see a different side of Astrid, for one, and then two, you just get to see her working with someone she doesn't normally work with at all, and how she copes with that.
Okay, so since I don't have a runner-up, she has a lot of great moments, I just can pinpoint one. I'm just going to my straight-out favorite, and it's not from Race to the Edge.
I'm guessing it's from the first movie.
Nope.
Oh, wrong. Let's see.
Movie.
It's from Gift of the Night Fury.
Oh, is it the Yak-Nog scene?
You're close. Okay, I'll just say
the eggs blow up.
The eggs explode.
That's
the delivery, the animation on her face, the build-up that she at first she says it like she's not sure the eggs explode, then they actually explode, and she yells it, and then when Stoic asks what's going on, she's like, the eggs explode, and that entire scene is just amazing. I love it.
Yeah, real quick, that actually, what Demon Wolf said, that's another kind of side of Astrid that we don't see too often. The excited.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of just her Yak-Nog scene. I feel like that's this is like really in-depth character analysis of Astrid here, real quick. But so she's the warrior her whole life. Something good happens, so like she doesn't have to do warrior again. She tries different things, and that's kind of what we get in the Gift of the Night. Where he's like, hey, let me try being the sporadic spunky girl for once. And so she's like, hey, let's try and make other stuff happen. And she's not a good cook, so that happens. And she's not good with the dragon eggs, so that happens. So it's kind of a experimental.
Well, to be honest,
she tried. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, about the eggs more than the Yak-Nog.
Because nobody told her about the Yak-Nog, I guess.
Yeah, but anybody could have made the mistake with the eggs, but it's just funnier when it's Astrid that's doing it. My thing with that is that Gift of the Night Fury wasn't officially released here, so I had to watch it on YouTube. And one of the guys in the comments, actually, one of the top-rated comments on the upload I watched is that strange moment when Astrid pulls the hiccup.
Oh yeah, I saw something like that in the one that I watched on YouTube as well.
So that's awesome. Okay, so what is your favorite Astrid moment?
Demon Wolf, you can go first on this one.
All right. For me, again, it'd have to come from Race to the Edge, and it would be, again, the most of the episode of what's the name of it? The one where she creates a defense force for Berk. What's the name of that episode? I cannot for the life of me remember. Yeah, Astrid's A team or Astrid's team, whatever it is.
Team Astrid.
That one Team Astrid. That's it. That one is my favorite. Like just most of that episode, because again, it's just another side of Astrid we don't get to see too often, because it's mostly Hiccup being the leader. On that one, again, you get to see her being the leader and with an entirely different team, and how she would do things differently from Hiccup.
Okay, cool. Rash, do you have anything?
the Cove confrontation of Hiccup and Astrid. I think that one's great.
Oh, okay, from movie 1, right?
From movie 1, yes, because that one,
Okay.
that just shows, basically, I mean, the whole fight scene you can say is the Hickstrid stuff, but basically both ends of it, you get to see her change. You see, at first she's like, what's going on? She's all suspicious. Something happens. Then she actually tries to protect Hiccup, or you could just say it's, instinct as a warrior to push him down. Either way, you see her turn on to full warrior mode. Then Hiccup stops her, and then my favorite moment comes next when she leaves. Obviously, from the Hiccup episode, you get my favorite quote.
Yeah.
But then, when she's running, when Toothless picks her up, she starts screaming. She's like, "Oh gods, this is it, Othor!" And then they drop her on the tree, and she still thinks she's in a position to argue, or a position to negotiate there.
Yeah, that's a good. Actually, you reminded me. I changed my mind. My runner-up is at the exact same scene. Is that when Hiccup tells her, "It's okay, you just scared him," and she's like, "I scared him."
Yeah. Who is he?
Yeah. Then she's like, "Who is him?"
Oh yeah, who's him?
Okay, so that's. But as everything, what goes up must go down. So, what is our least favorite Astrid moments? If you guys have anything, go right ahead. I need to think.
It actually, when I was thinking about this, when you sent out the script earlier, I kind of actually was thinking about the Heather incident, but that's not a least favorite Astrid moment. I don't remember if we did least favorite for Hiccup, but that's definitely least favorite Hiccup. Just kind of going back to change that. In terms of least favorite Astrid moments, probably. Sorry, Wolf, I'm gonna have to disagree. Team Astrid, just not how she takes leadership, but just the fact that she is trying to make excuses to stay home forever. That's my least favorite.
Oh, I understand. Like, yeah. There's good and bad with every character, so yeah, I would completely understand. That some people may not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, from the same episode, not necessarily for Astrid herself. She, apparently, according to me, from a second ago, she did a gender bent operation, but that's another thing. Okay, so at that same episode, we hear that her parents had been in danger, but we don't ever see them, or I don't know. The fact that they introduce the fact that she has parents doesn't really go anywhere. You know what I mean?
That's more of the story and animation choice, I think. Because they don't want to create new character models, and two, that probably would either conflict with the third movie because where are her parents now, and stuff like that.
Yeah, could be, but I don't know. It seems like because to me it seems like they try to give her more depth, but then they took one step backwards. So I don't know that. Again, it's nothing. It's not because of her. But it's related to her. So that's what I got from now. It's the runner-up, maybe.
Okay, I can see that. Wolf, do you have a least favorite Astrid moment?
My least favorite moment would have to come from the second movie. And there's a lot of, I would say there's at least a bit of contention around this particular scene where some people are on one side of it and some are on the other. But it's the scene where Astrid tells Drago about Hiccup, and she's trying to scare him, using Hiccup to scare him away from Berk and try to keep Berk safe. A lot of people will tell you that she did that, and I've seen some of the defenses for this, and they're really good at explanations, and they're really good explanations for why she did it. But I feel they leave out one reason as to why she wouldn't have done it and why it feels odd for her to do it, and that being that she is and has trained most of her life to be a warrior. And because of that, I feel she would realize, hey, this scare tactic wouldn't work on this guy who literally just stood in a dragon's fire and made that dragon bow down to him. Like, yeah, I don't think a scare tactic would work on him, even if I did tell him that there's a person out there who can control dragons as well, if not better than he can. And I feel she would realize that as a warrior and would realize that staying silent about Berk and Hiccup may be the best for that scene, because putting it to his knowledge, telling him where we came from and that there's dragons there and people who can protect it, would definitely put it on his radar much more than what it would have been previously. And so I feel that's a little out of character for her to do and rush into that kind of decision, even though she is one to rush into decisions and tackle problems head on, and it does work with that side of her character. I feel it goes against the other side of her character, which is she's a warrior.
Yeah, you could say that that she got softened up, actually. That's one of my arguments for why she's not acting as strong as she was in the first movie. I mean, I completely agree. That's totally against it, but they kind of softened her up in the movie, and I feel like that has to do with, Hiccup, the whole peace thing and all that. But you're right. It's not.
I don't know.
I would. An argument.
I would still kind of disagree with that, though, because when we first see Astrid and Hiccup first talking together, and we kind of see them being a couple again, and Hiccup tells her Stoic wants me to take more responsibility. He wants me to take over more as chief. The first thing she says is, "Oh, I'll have to take care of Toothless for you because you won't be able to." And she doesn't really finish that sentence, but her first thought was, "I have to take care of Toothless to help you out, so you have more time for the village." Like, her immediate thought isn't of helping Hiccup. Her immediate thought is, how can I help Hiccup help the village
That's
more?
okay. Yeah.
Like,
Didn't think of it. That's a good point, right?
So I would say, is she? I don't know if she's necessarily been softened, but she was. She's definitely opened up more with Hiccup around.
The
and
way
definitely,
I see it is after the first movie where Hiccup showed her that new way of thinking about dragons, and take into consideration the 5 years the gap between movie 1 and movie 2, we see it in the show as well, that Hiccup is usually the man with a plan in every episode. So I guess she just realized that he's the brain, she's the muscle, and she accepted that pretty much.
Yeah, that's good. That's a interesting and funny point, but very, very true, actually.
And actually, Wolf, one thing about the scene you said, because you said again that a lot of people actually like this scene, and you see why. I believe I read somewhere that America Ferrera herself, what is it with me turning girls into boys this episode, man? Wolf, are you Voyager?
No.
Okay.
Couldn't pull that off.
Okay, but America Ferrera actually said that this is her favorite Astrid moment from the franchise.
And I can understand why, too, to a degree. Like, it's a very... I can understand why she would think it, even if I can't kind of put it into words. Like, and I can understand why others like it for her as well. It is a good moment for Astrid, but I just feel that it's still a little bit out of character. Like I said, I've seen some of the explanations and defenses as for why it is in character, and they're really good for some of them. And if I didn't have that other thought, I would say, yeah, you know what, I'm wrong. I agree with you. That is completely in character for Astrid, and it's a great moment for her. But I do still go back to but she's kind of a warrior, and I feel like she would realize that, and I've not seen anyone necessarily address that side of it. If they can, though, and come up with a good explanation as to why that doesn't matter in that particular scene, then I may, again, completely switch my opinion and say, you know what, I was wrong, you're right, I'm sorry.
I'm going to look up some military strategies, see if I can find something on that, and then I'll write it.
While you do that, Rush, let's get to the
he said
question.
If there's a thought, he'll look into it. So, hey, I'm just saying, it'd be interesting to figure out why she did it. That is a great point. It would be interesting to see if there is a reason, a warrior-style reason, like, try and confuse them. I mean, that's a dumb explanation, right? But, yeah.
But, I mean, I get what you're coming for, though. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, it's time. It's the question you knew was coming, and
all
everyone
the
who
listeners
probably
are waiting for.
Yeah, the listeners knew this was coming when they clicked on the episode and they heard it's about Astrid. So, Hickstrid, yes or no?
Let's all say our answers in 3, 2, 1. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, we all
So,
got
yeah,
different
I
answers. I thought I was gonna
Yeah.
hear a no and like another yes.
I like the fact that nobody said no. Russ says okay, I said and Wolf said I don't care.
It comes from me. Just I don't do ships other than the one and only true ship, which is Dagger's Boot, Hiccup, and Savage. That's the only ship you need. It's the trifecta, and it has.
I think Voyager would agree.
Wolf, I'm sorry.
It has lust. It has jealousy. It has it all.
And you know what other How to Train Your Dragon ship has all of that? Tough Nutted Macy.
Oh yeah, or Chicken,
This is
Tough
true.
Nut and Chicken. I think Chicken took over for that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot about the chicken. I don't know. I think he only sees the chicken as his friend, not as anything else.
I would still ship it though.
I'd still ship
Even though
it.
I'm not one into ships, I would ship Tough Nut and Chicken.
Okay, this
the
conversation is
best
taking a really,
bromance
really
ever.
weird turn, and we'll come back to it when we get to the twins episode.
Whatever episode,
But-
yeah, whatever episode we want. Okay, so we got
Tune
our
in
answers.
in a few episodes. We'll have an entire episode about chicken.
Oh God.
That'd be great.
I actually had chicken for lunch today. It was awesome, but that's another story.
Tough Nut immediately hates you.
Yeah.
He needs to live at the same time zone as me first.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we have a yes,
Okay,
an
so-
and a I don't care. We'll
Yes,
start
okay,
backwards
so-
and see why. So let's start with the I don't care. So you said you don't ship Wolf.
Like I'm not big into ships. I don't really do ships. If they happen, I'm fine with it. But I'm more into. I don't necessarily like to see like, oh, these characters have these great relationship or they work well together. So immediately throw them into a romantic thing together.
Okay.
Like I would rather see relationships just blossom naturally within characters, and I think How to Train Your Dragon has done that decently well, kind of, depending on how you look at certain things.
Yeah.
Most people would say the show's taking way too long to get to Hickstrid. Some people, like myself, would say that I think the way the show has done Hickstrid has been way better than what the movies have done. But, you get different people. But again, like, for me, it's just I don't do ships, so therefore I don't care. If you like it and enjoy it, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I think it's fine how it is, and that's me.
I think real
Okay.
quick, the issue with the show is that, at least my issue with the show is that in the movie, first off, 5 years, so that's a great time frame to say, well, they got in a relationship. I mean, who cares, right? But it's like they act
And
like
it works well for the second movie.
yeah, it just it feels like they've been together for a lot longer than the show has led on. But
Yeah.
I'll say that later. Cohen, since you said I'd like you to explain that.
Okay, so here's my thing. As we see it in movie one, I believe the romance is not given enough time to develop. Not that it's entirely the movie's fault, because the movie is not about the romance. It's about
Thank
the
God.
relationship between Hiccup and Toothless. So, and because this is Hiccup's journey, it makes sense that Astrid is sorta, it's not her entire point, but she's the prize, essentially. She is the other thing that he wins.
To kind of step in for a moment, I would say it is the movie's fault. I feel like the first movie does force that relationship in to a degree, and that it is the movie's fault that that's what people
we'll
see.
get to our thoughts about it later. It's
yeah.
the next category, so just save it for there. That's all.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I don't necessarily blame the movie for it, because essentially the first time we see Astrid, we see Hiccup googling over here. So okay, they're going to be together by the end of it, so I accept it. My issue and the point where it becomes is when in the show it doesn't seem like they're developing a romantic, like, what, in Riders there's an episode where they get lost in the snow or something, so they hug each other for a moment and then they realize they're hugging each other and they step back. It's like, aren't you guys in a relationship or something? Actually, you know what? Gift of the Night Fury. If Gift of the Night Fury told me anything, is that these two are romantically involved. He calls her my lady. She she tells him he's amazing. They act like a couple in Gift of the Night Fury, and then in the show it's like, not really. And in Defenders, there was also a moment where Hiccup pretty much invents airmail, where he sends the terrible terrors to Berk with letters, and Astrid tells him, if this message gets to Berk, I'm kissing Snotlout on the lips. And then it did. They meet him there, and Hiccup actually teases her like, you said you will do it. That's not necessarily two people in a relationship won't act like that, pretty much. And then we get to movie 2, where they're together. You can't tell me otherwise. They're together. The facts are laying right there in front of your face, and then we go back to the show, and it seems like they're not going anywhere with it. So the point why I think Maze seems like there's no real continuity with it.
Well, I mean, the problem with writers and defenders of Berk is just the time they came in at. Like, they're right in between the first movie and the second movie, and they really can't do a lot because the second movie, and from what I understood, they actually the directors on the show for Writers of Berk and Defenders of Berk talked about this a bit, here and there. Like, there's some things they just couldn't cover. Like, they weren't allowed to cover, or they just couldn't cover because, the people who were working on the movie said, we're going to touch on this. We need you to stay away from this so we can be the one to touch on it.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
The Race to the Edge, however,
there's a lot more.
Oh yeah, they have more freedom.
Yeah, but the thing with Race to the Edge is, they're in a lot more direct contact with Dean in terms of what's going on in the third movie. So, like, if they want to add an element where they find a specific dragon, that's like Dean's like, hey, wait a second, we were gonna write that in the third movie. It's like, wait, well then they can't do it. The reason with the writers, first off, it was for Cartoon Network. So, kids oriented, kids don't care about romance, right? There's that part of it. But then the other part about it is, I believe that the reason why they, here's my insertion of why they didn't get together in the first, first 2 seasons, is because it's called like have you guys ever heard of the hero complex? Basically, if you save someone, they'll be like attached to you, but it'll eventually wear off, right? I feel like that's probably knowing Astrid with your personality. That's probably what actually would have happened anyway. But then once you got to know him, well, I mean, then there's the thing of getting to know him, which 5 years later you get to know him, right? And then you can actually be in a relationship. But it's like the immediate stuff will be wear off, and then it'll be like, oh, now I don't see him as a hero, but I see him as an actually pretty cool. What did she say? The unassuming heroic dragon rider type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since we pretty much did a quick, sharp turn into our thoughts about the relationship, Wolf, what did you want to say before?
About
the first movie, where I said I don't necessarily blame the movie for the romance, but you say you do, so...
I think it comes down to like when I came into the fandom as well, to a degree, and when I did, like I said before, I came into the franchise and the fandom about when the first few episodes when the first season, Riders of Berk, started airing. That's when I came into the franchise and the fandom, and the general conversation and topic for the fandom at that time was, Hickstrid, we want more of it, we want it now.
Yeah.
One might argue that hasn't changed, but
it hasn't.
Back then it seemed way more.
Unless you are in that part of the fandom which ships Hiccup with every other animated girl ever created.
That annoys me because it's just like, why? I mean, makes no sense. They're not even the same universe. Just let it.
Whatever.
You know what?
You feel like sailing.
I'm going to actually admit something.
Uh-oh.
When I first saw it, I kinda like, and to an extent, I still kinda do like Mary Cup. I'm sorry.
That was
Fight
such
me.
a bad movie, though.
It was a good movie. Shut up.
It was alright.
Fight me.
But again, like whatever.
Rush, fight
whatever
me.
ship you feel like
IRL.
sailing.
But
This is what happens when we don't have Voyager to keep us in check. We want to fight each other.
yeah,
Voyager, come
we are
back
3
quickly.
guys on a podcast. It was supposed to happen.
3 guys on a podcast. It's just a brawl fest.
someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
It's a ball fest,
Voted
which
to
means
it.
we settled that in Smash.
Exactly.
Okay, so now that I got that off my chest, what-
Continue, Wolf. Yeah. So
Yeah.
3 first episodes in,
So,
all
I
I
mean-
wanted was more Hickstrid.
And so, when and at that time I hadn't seen the movie yet. So when I went in to watch the movie, I guess my opinion of it was, all right, I'm going to see a romance immediately, and that's what's going to be, and that's not what I saw from it. And so my general opinion of the fandom was, okay, they wanted, they saw this relationship. They didn't see that, in the first movie there wasn't a relationship. It was just a changing of ideals and Hiccup changing Astrid's ideals. And another thing that I saw very commonly at that time too was a lot of people seem to believe, or at least I thought a lot of people did. This is, in my opinion, I think this has also changed as the fandom has, gone on and time has moved forward from the first movie. That people thought Astrid liked Hiccup from the beginning of the movie. And again, that's not what I saw when I watched it.
Yeah, I'm with you
There's
on that.
a
I never
lot of
saw
ways
it.
to read into it.
Yeah,
After
although
you get
to
done,
their credit, we never actually saw Astrid and Hiccup before the first movie. So, unless the graphic novels or flashbacks in the third movie will touch on it, they could be right.
Well, but the thing you have to
And-
consider is, as Wolf has said, this is like, remember, we're talking about Astrid here. This is the warrior. So I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
sure,
that
I'm
she
not-
never cared about. Like, it's
Yeah,
not that
I'm
she
not
didn't care about
justifying
Hiccup.
that. I'm not saying I'm agreeing with it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, maybe.
And I get it, but I just, I disagree with it personally, and I don't think that's how she saw Hiccup. She acknowledged his existence because he was important to the tribe, but she didn't care about him. Not in the way they think she did anyways.
Yeah.
If she cared, it's because, again, he's important to the tribe. I have to take notice of him, even if I think he's a screw-up and not worth my time.
He'll eventually be chief. So I have to
Yeah,
pay attention.
eventually,
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
I have to pay attention to him and hopefully try and, help him do something with the time comes, because he's going to be the one protecting the village. That's that's her entire goal in life, essentially: protect the village, protect its people, keep them safe. And that's why she has the comment, and we went over this when we did the episode in the first movie. That's why she makes the comment, hey, our parents' war is about to become our own. Figure out whose side you're on. Yeah. I'm pissed at you because you don't act like you're taking this seriously, and you should, because this is our village, our lives, and the people we care about's lives on the line here. Figure yourself out.
Exactly.
And because of that, I would feel like the relationship in the first movie was a little bit forced, because the hero has to get the girl. And if you don't look at it that way, I feel it's, him changing her ideals, getting her to see his line of thinking, and at the end of it, it's like maybe, things move on, and, she tries, and as she now has seen that Hiccup can be confident, he can show this leadership skill that is, that rivals Stoics in a way. Maybe it's different, but it still rivals Stoics. Maybe he's not as, hey, I'm going to tackle a problem head on first like Stoic does or most other Vikings do, but he still has his way of leading, and he still has his way of doing things that work, and he still is a Viking in a roundabout way. So she sees that, and then later on, as the 5 years progress, she becomes to like him more and more. I can see that, and I can agree with that, and that works well. But I feel because of the romantic flight scene, the movie forces it a little bit in the first place, and it hurts her character to a degree.
Yeah, because in terms of what we see her going from this strong, I'm not listening to anything you say, to in a few, I don't know if it was a few minutes for them in the movie, but all of a sudden the next thing she says is, okay, I admit this is pretty amazing. How did you go from this to that? What?
Well, I mean, that's
You're
again,
freaking
that's why I see
flying.
the
Why
changes.
wouldn't it be amazing?
Good point.
But that's why I see it as a changing of ideals and less of, oh, I've fallen in love with you.
but
that feels way too
And
quick.
like I said, I brought it up, I think, in the episode about movie 1 with Wolf. She fell for Toothless more than she did Hiccup.
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Again.
And shippers, stop, I didn't mean it like that.
But-
No, bad shippers.
I would I would say for her, it's the moment she realizes that, hey, Hiccup might be onto something is when they get back to the cove after seeing the Red Death, and again, you see a completely different side to Hiccup. You see him change, and that's where and she sees that change too, and she acknowledges that change. Where, wow, he's actually
after
confident
she
about
asks
this.
him about
Stands his ground and says,
yeah.
"No, wait."
Yeah, after she asks him about if he's willing to not tell anybody about it just to protect Toothless, and he says yes, she has that little moment where she looks at him in silence, and she's like, whoa.
And she sees him differently at that time.
Yes.
And
And that's kind of what changes her.
back in terms of like, just scenes, like just talking about the first movie, the lighting on his face is different. You can tell he's serious. It's at first it's kind of like moonlight, but then there's like the shadows on his face that you can see he's serious.
You can see him contemplating like the decision he's making, and again, like it's very clever on their part, from animation wise, just having that detail with the lighting, like showing that, hey, he's actually realizes what that decision means. And Astrid realizes what that decision means too, and that's why you see her just stand there in stunned silence for a brief moment, which is why I feel the kisses that she does afterwards are pointless. Like, that shouldn't have happened. If they would have just ended with that scene with that, I think it would have been a lot stronger personally.
Okay, but actually
I
we
can
had
see-
all
I
this
can
talk
see-
about.
I can see
sorry,
leaving
Lash, go.
out. Yeah, sorry, I haven't been able to talk the whole time, and I'm the one who's for his Hickstrid. So
Sorry.
I got to give my defense here. I can see them omitting the one after the flight, but the end of scene one, that's kind of just like a thank you. I feel like I honestly hate it when people say it's forced. I don't see how it's forced. If obviously you could say that first kiss is. I can understand one completely, but the other one at the end, that's because I'm going back to my hero ideal. It's like, oh, she sees him as a hero. She's thanking him, right? And that's really not more of a relationship. I didn't actually think they were going to be in a relationship in the first meeting. I thought it was like, hey, that's good. And Hiccup's like, he wanted that, but did he get it? And obviously 5 years later he did. Right.
And I think like the reason I do that comes back to just my introduction to the franchise and like the general idea of Hickstrid as well. Like the reason I saw it that way was because that's all I saw when I first saw everything. Like when I first got into it and started looking up, like that's what I saw first.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I went into it thinking that.
And that overzealous
didn't happen, and I don't feel
14-year-olds
that
who
happened.
wish they had something like that happen to them. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but or maybe I am. Who cares? but I'm probably the most moderate. Honestly, what I want to see happen is them at least be official somehow in the show, and then I don't care after that. Once they become official, like sure you can throw a kiss in here and there and whatnot, but like I don't want them to be. And I think everybody will agree with this. Like, don't do a full Hickstrid episode. That's useless. Just like say at the end of an episode, or like not at the end of an episode, but at least you can dedicate
have
like
a moment somewhere
five minutes or
between
something.
somewhere.
Actually,
Astrid
I don't
saying.
remember if it was the last bunch of episodes or the one before it. There was a line where Snotlout says to Hiccup, I don't care about Astrid anymore, she's yours. So maybe that's the start of something? Maybe?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, in my personal opinion, that it's going to be like a 5-minute thing in one episode where Astrid says,
they won't dedicate
confesses
an
to
entire
Hiccup or
episode
something.
to that. They'll beat it up on a few episodes.
Well, yeah, they will, but I feel like the final thing, when they finally become a couple, right, is Astrid confessing. It's not going to be Hiccup, I think. I think it's going to be Astrid confessing. Because there you go, Astrid making the first move.
She'll make the first move, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so actually, I want to talk about Hickstrid. Quick question: do you think Astrid could stand on her own without Hiccup? If you took Hiccup out of the picture.
2 answers to that, yes and no, and here's why. If Hiccup never happened, absolutely, everybody could agree she could stand her own. Actually, it's not really a no, it's more of a maybe. After getting to know Hiccup, it would kind of be, I feel like she got more connected to Hiccup as a personal, not like romantically necessarily in these.
No, I'm
as
not
we've seen.
meaning in terms of the canon. I asked this.
Oh,
in
okay. If Hiccup never
that-
existed, well then yes.
Yeah, I'm asking because notice that even though this episode is about Astrid, we mentioned Hiccup a lot throughout it. So what I ask is, if the franchise focused on her and Hiccup's character didn't exist, will she still be interesting to you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say yes, because I mean she is an interesting character still. It's I think it's a little bit of a sad, happening for her that she's so tied to Hickstrid. Like, you can talk about Hiccup without bringing up Astrid, but you can't talk about Astrid without bringing up Hiccup to a degree.
Exactly.
And that's a little bit, that kind of sucks a bit.
That's true. That's just how... It's not how I think the franchise has dealt with it, but I think it's how the fandom has made it to where she's such a central
It's
figure
just
to Hiccup. Or Hiccup's
a part of thing.
I think it's
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing either.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a middle road because, again, if Hiccup's character didn't exist, maybe Astrid would have been the main character, and then and then because she won't be a supporting character, nobody will have that mentality of, oh, she's the main character's girlfriend.
But the thing that I like about the franchise is that they still make her a strong character, even without
Oh
Hiccup.
no, they do.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
I'm
it's
not
not
saying that they
it-
don't. But
I mean, you kind of said that she's the main character girlfriend. I think a lot of people don't see it like that. A lot of people see her as her own person.
I think they do, but I think there's also just that attachment that's
Right.
there that you just can't get rid of to some degree.
Yeah, that's true. I would have definitely loved to see how Astrid, because this is still the same name franchise, right? How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup doesn't exist. How would the warrior Astrid deal with training a dragon?
yeah, and
That would be an interesting.
You definitely have to change up a lot, I
Oh,
feel.
yes.
Especially about her character to a degree, because I don't think she would see things the way Hiccup would see them immediately. So her character would definitely be a little bit different. But I do think she could stand on her own and do things in her way.
Absolutely.
yeah.
They've built.
Yeah,
I think they've built her character that
And
she is.
I think the show
independent.
has proved that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
It-
Race to the Edge has
so
definitely.
I guess the answer is it could work. That's the short answer.
Would work. I'm saying
would.
definitely.
Okay, so like always, what are your thoughts about the future of Astrid and in terms of the graphic novels and How to Train Your Dragon 3? Where you see her in that? Like, or the end of the franchise, what do you see for her future?
Well, as we saw in the Burning Midnight, they had that whole page of talking about Stoic and Stoic still
Yes.
wishing for her to be the daughter-in-law. So obviously still married. I'm guessing going to be married to Hiccup, but she'll probably be the chief's like right hand and have her own duties and be her own separate person.
Yeah, she'll be Gobble, pretty much. Like what Gobble was to Stoic, she'll
Yeah.
probably be for Hiccup.
And she'll be I think she'll be as important to the village as Hiccup is.
But- I think Hiccup's Gobber would probably be more fish legs than Astrid. I think she'll definitely be like his right hand in things. But I think that kind of Gobber position for Hiccup would be more fish legs.
Yeah, and,
personally, but
uh,
she's definitely going to be an important role in leading the village and helping Hiccup do things for the village.
Yeah, and before I just that actually reminded me of something. So, excluding the TV show because they've given a bad name to him, I think Astrid could be more like Spylout, because Spylout in the movies is considered the like right hand warrior to Stoic, right? And then-
like
then
the
we
war general.
Exactly, and then we get
And Gobber's more of a
just like the joking friend that's there for
Yeah.
friendship, comfort stuff. And then we
Yeah.
get the TV show screwing up Spylout's character.
and also he's there to kind of question Stoic in some things as well.
Yeah, but Astrid would
Make sure he's really set in what he's doing.
Astrid would so quickly question Hiccup.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and she would also make sure he stayed too. Like that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Fish Legs wouldn't be able to make sure Hiccup stayed. He might question Hiccup, but he wouldn't be able to make sure Hiccup stayed to make sure he did what he needed to do.
Yes.
Astrid,
Astrid will.
she's going to force him.
She's gonna twist his
You're
arm
going to
and throw
have
him
to
to
be
the
there
ground
as long
and
as she's around.
pop him with the axe handle.
Yep.
Damn. So, man, well, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, in terms of her and Hiccup ending together, a lot of people say there should be a wedding. There should be. I
No.
don't know if there should be one. Like
Nope.
if you end the franchise with just saying they're married, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can get it. I don't even think they need to be married. It's like it's obvious. We don't need to delegate a scene to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, the third movie's gonna have so much going on. I think if they are gonna, they could either, there are two ways they could do this. They could, I guess, three ways. They could do it in the graphic novel, something like that. I'm not saying they have to. I'm saying it's possible. They could say they
Yeah.
got married sometime between the graphic novel and the third movie, or they could say, the marriage, like they could throw in something saying, oh, the marriage is in 2 months, but in the third movie, but the movie ends basically in 2 weeks, so you never get to see the marriage, but we know they're married, or they're getting married, or something like that. Or the fourth option, they don't get married at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they could also do it within a short too. And if they did, I'm fine. If they don't, I'm fine. Like, for me, it's one of those questions that, like, I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
Like with Night Furies, I don't need to know if there are other Night Furies around. I don't need to know those two things because I can infer maybe there is, maybe there isn't, maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
I'm fine either
Leave
way.
it
As
to
a-
interpretation.
As like
Yep.
the only straight up yes Hickstrid fan here, even I say it would be excessive to to have too much time dedicated to the wedding.
Because again, it's
Yeah.
not the focus of this franchise when you get down to it. It's not the heart.
Yeah, the focus of my Hickstrid fandom is more, are they together? And they are by the second movie, and they will be in the third movie. There, I'm happy. I don't care if they get married or not.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so to go back to what we said about Stormfly, if the dragons are living at the end of the third movie, how much do you think it will impact Astrid?
Not very.
Yeah, it'll be like if we go back to Stoic's funeral scene, where Hiccup's crying, like doing the talk and everything. Astrid just is like, she's like sad and she kind of just shakes her head. I feel like that's kind of be the same thing for losing at Stormfly if it does happen.
I'll probably say there will be tears, but she'll get over it quickly. That's what I think.
Well, I would say she shed tears over Stoic too. You may not see it
Yeah,
because
she has.
she's going to realize, hey, there's more important things that we need to take care of now. We need to get back. We need to defend Berk.
Yeah. Warrior side
Grieving
right
over
there.
Stoic can wait. Like, that's her just going into warrior mode and activating that kind of part of her brain and saying, all right, grieve later, take care of Berk now.
Yeah,
If the dragons left, I would be sad, I would be hurt by it, but protect Berk, take care of
and
Berk.
another thing is
Grieve later.
another thing about being a warrior, she probably doesn't want anybody to see her cry, so she'd probably save
That
it for
too.
Yeah,
a private
that's another
moment
thing.
when she's alone.
Okay, final quick question, and that's more for Wolf because again, books. Astrid or Kamikaze?
Oh, I would say they're both very interesting characters, just from how they interact and do things differently. Like, they're similar in some ways. They're very strong, independent characters, but they're very different too. And so I wouldn't really compare them. And I would say they both stand on their own and do their own thing.
Yeah, just to wrap this up on something funny, I actually read a fan fiction once where they said that Kamikaze is Astrid's birth name and she just adopted the nickname.
That's just people extending
Yeah.
what is it, I forgot, it's like the something of disbelief.
Suspicion of this birth.
Suspension,
Yeah, so just trying to throw in something that could happen but probably would never happen.
Their own interpretations,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
again is fine.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a question for you. This is kind of going back to what you said. So, do you think if you saw the movie first before joining the fandom, do you think any of your opinions, just overall, of Astrid or of Hickstrid, I guess, do you think that would change at all?
I don't think so, to be honest. Like, having seen it the way I've seen it now, and then seen this first movie after the fact, I don't think it would change too much. I think I would still see Astrid the same way I see her, and I think I would still more or less see Hickstrid the same way I see it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think the fandom wouldn't have changed much on that
fandom
for
would
me.
have been the same.
So I don't think my opinion would
We're
change
gonna
too
find out how
much.
big the fandom, or how how the fandom will react to our let's say moderation of Hickstrid. Even I don't know. I feel like even I was moderate compared to some of those Hickstrid fans out there.
Who knows?
I think they would actually, like, when the first movie first came out and Writers of Berk and Defenders of Berk had first started, I think negatively.
Yeah.
But now I think with time, a lot of it's kind of mellowed out a bit more.
Which is good. We don't
Maybe
want
it's
him
just
demanding
me.
it every episode.
Okay, so I think we pretty much covered it all. So that was the Berkcast episode about Astrid. Thank you for joining us, Wolf, again.
Thank you for having me.
So, if you have a favorite Astrid moment or least favorite Astrid moment, you can tell us in the comments, and you can also tell us on Berk's Grapevine forums. We are all there. You can also find us at Rash, correct me,
Berkcast.
is
At Berkcast, capital B, capital C.
on Twitter, and yep, that's it. I was HC,
I was Rush.
I'm Wolf.
and we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.